Okay, hey, it's Vaughn back again, and for those of you who have made it this far in the shootout, you've already witnessed the factory Jensens in one of these custom Vibrolux reverbs, pinned against blue frame Eminence in the matching amp over here, and also against the WGS Vet 10s. And our Vet 10s so far have won everything. With the Vet 10s being the Jensen blue frames were just a little bit sweeter sounding than the Eminence blue frames, and then the Vet 10s were even a little bit sweeter sounding yet than the Jensen blue frame P10 Alnicos were. So right now what we've got, just for the fun of it over here in our comparison amp, is a pair of original from the 60s CTS Alnico magnet speakers. And these, by the way, were purchased used on the used market, so we don't know what kind of mileage they have on them. Actually, Todd here just got these in, and Todd will be hearing the speakers for the very first time right now. The CTS Alnicos, as you know, were made in Paducah, Kentucky, and to this very day, some of the employees at WGS are former CTS employees from Paducah, and as a matter of fact, some of the great, from the 50s industrial production equipment of the CTS lines is still being used on the WGS production lines, and the CTS Alnico 10s, to me, are purely magical. I love them. They have this incredible ability to just smooth out the top end and make the bottom end sound really, really, really luscious as well. So let's just listen to a comparison. Again, we're going to start with the original Jensen blue frames here. Over to the CTS. A little bit of back and forth for you. The Jensens and the CTS. Okay, so definitely the CTS have, once again, removed some of the ice pick of the Jensens. And remember now, the Jensens didn't have nearly as much ice pick as the Eminence blue frame Alnicos did. Let's see, let's do just a couple different things. We'll do a little bit of that Stevie Ray stuff. I might do something a little different for you, but... Those are the CTS, by the way. And now we're going to go over to the Jensens. A little bit of quick back and forth. CTS! Jensen! Ow! Okay. Once again, probably more than ever, you can hear that ice picky thing kicking in there, and we'll do just a little bit of that single coil on the bridge sound, starting out with the Jensen Blue Frame P10 Qs. Over to the CTS. So those are the CTS. Okay, so again, as we assumed, the CTS, and Todd, your CTS sound healthy, by the way. So good job there. The CTS definitely are a warmer speaker and remove some of that whole ice pick thing. Again, if we're over here. Over to the CTS. Okay, so what we have found out at this point is exactly what we kind of thought we would, which is these modern Jensen P10Qs, which are the ones that you can buy right now. They're made in Italy. Are a pretty decent sounding speaker overall. You may remember our WGS Vet 10s actually beat them out by sounding just a little bit warmer and taking a little bit of the ice pick away. And these wonderful vintage from the 60s blackface era CTS Alnicos actually did, in fact, warm it up a little bit, take the ice pick away. But basically speaking, I would say that they did no better job of it than the WGS Vet 10s did. So, which, if you saw the blog we did last week, where we in fact pitted the original CTS Alnico magnet speakers in my Super to a modern Super Repro with the WGS Vet 10s, you saw that we almost made those two amps sound exactly alike, which is really astounding considering, you know, one is a whatever, a 40-year-old vintage amp, and the other came out just last year. So that's the end of this test and the end of this week's blog. I tell you what, though, if you will come back next week, we are going to sort of stack the deck, if you will, a little bit in WGS's favor. Next week, we're going to take a pair of speakers that are just as near and dear to my heart as the CTS speakers are, and that is the new G10 series from WGS. The G10 is actually the speaker that brought me into the WGS family. A couple of years ago, I heard the G10, saw the G10, and was blown away by the looks of the G10 Alnico. Actually, Todd, bring me that G10 Alnico speaker. This is the speaker. I was at the Summer NAMM show here in Nashville, and I almost can't hold it. I saw this speaker at the WGS booth, and yes, friends and neighbors, this is all Alnico right here on this very, very vintage-looking stamped frame with a very vintage-looking ribbed and seamed cone. And it's actually rated at 75 watts, and WGS, when they say 75 watts, they mean 75 tube amp watts. So this is sort of the mother, if you will, of all 10-inch speakers. And when I saw them at the NAMM show, I basically said, okay, I want a couple right now. And they said, well, you have to wait because we haven't actually started our production run on them yet. To which I basically said, well, I want the very first ones that come off the production run. And I think I sent them emails and called and hounded to get these, and I wanted to review them for Vintage Guitar Magazine. And actually what they did is they sent me one of these with the Alnico magnet, and Todd, trade that in on. I want to show you this speaker is available also with a ceramic magnet, and the ceramic version, of course, is quite a bit less expensive because the Alnico magnet material is just so darn expensive. This is the exact same speaker, the G10 in the C or the ceramic version. Again, it's a heck of a magnet structure. It's also rated at 75 watts. It's the exact same cone. It's the exact same voice coil, the exact same spider, the same stamped frame. The only difference is that this has got the ceramic magnet. And as you've heard me say before concerning these speakers, this ceramic version of this speaker is probably 90% of the tone of the Alnico for a third of the cost. So this is a really good deal. These are $65 speakers, and they will transform an amp. If you've got a 110 amp that, say for instance, a Princeton or something like that, or a Champ 2 like I do, and you want to be able to make that amp into something that you can actually take onto a stage and, you know, jam with a band in a club, put one of these G10s in it, and you will transform that into a giggable amp. These are some beefy speakers. There's some great sounding speakers, and if you listen to our blog next week, you're going to hear this Vibrolux with the pair of G10s. It'll be the one Alnico and the one ceramic magnet speaker, compared to the Jensens that come stock in these Vibroluxes. And this is a little bit more, actually, of a price-wise, this is a little bit more of an apples-to-apples comparison, because price-wise, the Alnico version of these speakers, anyway, falls about into the same place as the P10Qs that come stock in these Vibroluxes. So, personally, I think it's a little bit of a Samson and Goliath comparison, because I know how dang good these speakers sound. But come back and listen to that. We will look forward to seeing you then. And honestly, I can't wait to hear it. It's going to be a great comparison.